The NCAA just does not know how to lose its grip on the power. It continues to struggle with it. They've appealed the 4 West Virginia players that have been ruled eligible. What does that mean? We talk about it now.
You are Locked On West Virginia, your daily podcast on the West Virginia Mountaineers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And what is up, guys? Welcome back in. My name is Mountaineer Paul. I am your host. This is Locked On West Virginia, baby. Well, we're talking about the Mountaineers on the football side again today. It's game week, baby. Let's go, man. Are you guys excited? Are you stoked? Because on this episode, we start off with some kind of crap news with the NCAA and everything it's doing, but we get to move on into the second segment where we talk about this Rich Rod thing, man. This is a movie. Like everything that's gone on and what's about to happen, historic by any measure, and we are getting close to one of the greatest moments in the history of our school. I mean, in my opinion, in our state. So let's have fun with it. Let's enjoy it. This season could be tough, and I don't see why there's any reason not to enjoy the off-season part of it and dream a little bit. So we're going to do that. This episode of Locked On West Virginia, thank you guys so much for joining in. Going to be brought to you by FanDuel. And right now with FanDuel, today's episode brought to you by FanDuel. Football season's around the corner. With FanDuel and the app today, start planning your future bets now. Thanks for making Locked On West Virginia your first listen, and for being a part of the Locked On Podcast Network, where we talk about your team, the Mountaineers, every single day. Can't thank you guys enough, as always, for joining in and making this just an awesome show that I look forward to doing every day, and I mean that in every sense of the word. So can't do it without you guys. The NCAA refuses to lose it's any court cases. It refuses to lose any power. It refuses to lose any of or to acknowledge the waning grip it has on the sport. And it continues to flex when and where it can and when and how it can on unsuspecting athletes who are just trying to live their best lives. Yeah, are some of these cases a little ridiculous with how old some of the players are? Sure, I can be objective and say, yeah, there are definitely some older players trying to do these things. But at the end of the day, wouldn't you too? If you were in their situation, and let's say you're a guy that's, maybe will get drafted, maybe you won't, but you've got these millions of dollars, or at least $1 million or major six figures in your face. Wouldn't you do everything you could to get eligible? Like, it just makes no sense. I see the criticisms. It just makes no sense. Let's dive into what the NCAA is doing. Let's go over to my buddy Sam Ehrlich, who has done just an awesome job covering this entire scenario as it unfolds. He's obviously got a pretty good in over there because he puts that up as soon as it happened. Let's see. Let's go back a little ways here. News that should shock absolutely nobody. The NCAA has appealed the decision granting preliminary injunctions to 4 West Virginia players to the 4th Circuit Court of Appeals. Notice is hereby given to the defendant National Collegiate Athletic Association, hereby appeals to the United States Court of Appeals for the 4th Circuit Court order granting plaintiffs a motion for a temporary restraining order and preliminary injunction entered in this action on August 20, 2025, respectively submitted this day, 25th of August, 2025. Chris Smith, Benjamin Bailey, Chris D. Smith, Bailey and Glasser, 209 Capitol Street, Charleston, West Virginia, 25301. What does Rich Rod say? If you're loafing, what are you? You're a traitor. Bailey and Glasser, traitors. No, I don't blame them for taking the case from the NCAA. It's easy money, right? I would take it, no doubt. So anyways, this is where we stand with it. I don't know, there's a lot to unpack with it. How long is it going to take? Like, there is good news in this. So let's get back over to my screen now as we kind of discuss what this all means from the standpoint of can they play or not. So at the end of the day, this is where we're kind of at with this. The NCAA is trying to overturn Judge Preston Bailey's ruling from 5 days ago in U.S. District Court, the Northern District of West Virginia, which granted the preliminary injunctions and temporary restraining orders, preventing the players to compete despite their JUCO years counted against eligibility. So the NCAA is saying, hey, we don't want to lose the 5-year clock because it's going to make it harder on high school players. And it's also, we want to protect the academic standards. There's that word again, and opportunities for high school athletes. So they said the academic standards again. That's a pretty good sign for West Virginia. And they may also seek an emergency stay to halt the players' participation, though that's difficult to win. If they get an emergency stay, this is code red. This is absolutely worst case scenario. But they haven't sought an emergency stay in any of the other cases. So just keep that in mind. So yes, the success of this could sideline the players midseason. It could sideline them in the playoffs. Like there are a bunch of different routes this could go. But if I was a betting man, I would see in 2026 is when this is probably going to happen. Based on, when you get to appellate courts, it gets to be a really slow burn. It doesn't happen overnight. It's not something that's quick. So I think we can all take a deep breath and think this is okay. Appellate courts typically take 6 to 12 months from filing to decision. So it could be anywhere from this mid-season to mid-2026, unless the NCAA requests the expedited review, which we talked about, which has not occurred in similar cases like Jet Elad, right? If you look at what his oral arguments are set for mid-September after a May appeal, right? So with West Virginia's season starting this Saturday against Robert Morris, I think the players are definitely safe for now, but the process could extend into next year. If you're just now hearing about this for the first time, you want to get caught up on it. Basically, August 1st, Jimmori Robinson, Tye Edwards, Justin Harrington, Jeff Weimer, 4 West Virginia transfers, all filed a lawsuit in Wheeling's federal court. They claimed that the NCAA's JUCO penalty, counting junior college years towards 5-year eligibility clock, violates the antitrust laws under the Sherman Act. So they all played at JUCO between 2018, 2021, somewhere in there. So they were denied waivers in 2025 from the NCAA, despite withdrawing from the NFL draft, expecting more time in college. So they were screwed, basically, because of the Pavia ruling and how that looked for people. A lot of guys thought, hey, my JUCO thing is good to go too. Rocky Gianola, who has been a great advocate of the West Virginia University, has argued the rule's anti-competitive, especially with the NIL and house settlement making college sports a commercial enterprise. I agree. And Judge Bailey also agreed, citing cases like Diego Pavia, granting eligibility on August 20. So this is obviously a big deal. If you want to know who these players are, Jimmori Robinson, one of the best pass rushers in all of college football, 10.5 sacks and 17 tackles for loss last year. Tye Edwards had 1,500 yards and 11 touchdowns last year in an amazing season in Northern Iowa. Justin Harrington started at Oklahoma in 2022, 2023, and played at Washington some last year. And Jeff Weimer, one of the best route runners, not only on the team, but I think in the portal, had 75 balls for over 1,000 yards last year caught, and is an absolute menace, and I think would make an immense impact on the roster. All 4 of these are impact guys, and none of these guys are guys that are like, well, are they even going to play or not? No, these are all impact guys. They all impact the team in a highly, big impact kind of manner. So, yeah, this is an interesting scenario. The NCAA refuses to give up. And I wish I could play I wish I could rickroll them. Never want to give you up. Never want, I wish I could play it because it seems just like that's exactly what fits the NCAA. So what does this signal about the NCAA and its waning power? Because the NCAA's appeal of West Virginia's players' eligibility case is part of a broader wave of legal challenges, right, going on across the country right now. It's a significant erosion of its authority, in my opinion, and over 24 similar cases in similar courts and district courts spanning the third, the fourth, the sixth, Ninth Circuit courts. And so it's facing a pretty big crisis here. Recent rulings like Diego Pavia, Jet Elad, Cortez Braham Jr., another former West Virginia player, suggests believe in judicial beliefs, among courts, a judicial shift after the House settlement, viewing eligibility rules as commercial under the antitrust law. This is a big, big, big thing, especially post NIL, post House settlement. This trend indicates the NCAA's traditional grip on amateurism is absolutely weakening, and the courts recognize college sports as a labor market. What does that mean? Employees. We've got employees now. Can we all just say it out loud and not dance around the subject? These kids are employees that just happen to go to school at the same time. The NCAA's inconsistent success in appeals also, they've won some cases like Nazir Farqueen, but they've lost others. So it's just a big struggle to adapt. It's obviously relying on arguments about academic integrity, high school opportunities, and it continues to be increasingly dismissal and also pretextual. And that's what Judge Bailey kind of ruled on here, right? Because this is a patchwork of outcomes, right? Like no one is similar, and it kind of reflects this huge fragmented legal landscape that we're living in. It's insane, y'all. And really, I think it continues to undermine the credibility of the NCAA built up over the years and its ability to enforce its own uniform rules. So I think the fact that we can push for congressional antitrust exemption, I think that's what needs to happen, right? To regain control. State laws and court decisions are diverging. The NCAA keeps lobbying efforts, suggesting it can no longer even rely on its own power. So it's a stark contrast to its once iron fist, unruled, unquestioned dominance that it had. So the House settlement and NIL era have absolutely shifted the power to the schools and the players, and the NCAA is in this defensive posture now. And I think at the end of the day, there's only one way out, and that's to get Congress involved. Let's fix this thing. That way we're making the lawyers rich. That's great. But outside of that, nobody else is really getting a ton of shine, if you will. So at the end of the day, I don't think this is going to matter. We do have a big update that I noticed, and I guess it had already been mentioned a few hours ago. I've been at the blood work today. I've been doing a bunch of different stuff, so I haven't been able to keep up. All four of these guys now appear on the West Virginia roster. It's a big deal. We talk about that and this Rich Rod story next. And this episode of Locked On West Virginia is going to be brought to you by Rougiette, y'all. And we talk about Rougiette for multiple reasons. Obviously, because you probably heard about this Viagra or Cialis. Maybe you've even tried them. But if you're looking for something beyond the usual pill, it's time to get Rougiette Ready. Rougiette Ready is a next-gen prescription treatment designed to amplify arousal in the brain and boost blood flow. Unlike the usual pills that can take hours, Rougiette's 3-in-1 formula dissolves under your tongue and kicks in fast, baby. On average, in 15 minutes. Effects can last up to 36 hours, so you can stay confident and in control when the moment is right. Heck, if traditional options haven't worked for you, Rougiette might be your answer, as over 150,000 men have already made the switch. Head to Rougiette.com/LockedOnCollege and use code LockedOnCollege to get 15% off today. That's RUGIET.com/LockedOnCollege and use the promo code LockedOnCollege for 15% off today. Individual results are going to vary with this, y'all. So that's with any prescription treatment. Compounded drugs are permitted, though, to be prescribed under federal law, but not approved under the FDA. And so they, by rule of that, do not undergo FDA safety, effectiveness, and manufacturing review. Best thing to do is go to visit Rejet's website for full safety information. It's segment 2. Let's crack open a do, guys. You know, Locked On needs your help. I don't know if you know this, but right now, guys, we have an important request. We here at Locked On want to hear from you. We put together a survey to learn more about our listeners and make your favorite podcast even better. This is your chance to tell us what you like and what you don't. Basically, just go in there and spam Mountaineer Paul stuff and answer questions about advertising. Go to lockedonpodcast.com/survey to get started. And everyone who completes the survey will be entered for a chance to win $100 in Amazon gift cards, one of 10. Again, that's lockedonpodcast.com, lockedonpodcasts with an S.com/survey. And you can also find the link in the show notes. No, you can't. I didn't put them in there. Thanks for helping us out. And we're back here Locked On West Virginia, guys. I appreciate you for joining in. Let's look at the roster really quick. As you can see, what I was checking earlier, I thought I saw a little cool thing on there. So, boom, there he is. Somebody who hasn't been on the roster since he signed with West Virginia, Jimmori Weimer, a big-time addition to the roster. And I think this signals, and I don't want to put words in the Mountaineers' mouth or the university's mouth, but if this guy wasn't going to play Saturday, would they be putting him on the roster? Ask yourself that question. I just want to know. You know what I mean? So let me know, y'all. I appreciate it. Mountain Dew and Boner Pills, what's your next advertiser? Mountaineer Paul. It's a good question. I feel like the only thing that follow that up would be like, give me a little Steve Weiser, a little Budweiser. I don't know. Maybe a steak. Maybe promote some steak. I don't know. It's a good question. So we got Jeff Weimer. Now, do we have? Let's just go back to the top. Okay, we've got. Well, I thought we had him there, but maybe not. Jimmori Robinson, there he is right there. So there's Jeff Weimer, there's Jimmori Robinson. We get to the running backs. Let's see. That's Nicholas. Well, he should be here, shouldn't he? Let's see if Justin Harrington's on here because he hasn't been on here either, has he? Now that I think about it. Is Justin Harrington not nickel safety? That would be news to me. Let's see if he's a regular safety then. I'm not seeing him on here yet. Let's see. Moving down on. Yeah, there he is right there. He's just a safety. Okay. Justin Harrington on here. That's a big deal. And then last but not least, what about them running backs? Must have passed them up. Sorry, y'all. It's not exactly easy. It's kind of hard to look at. It's kind of hard to look at the way they have this all set up, in my opinion. But I'm sure Tye Edwards is on here. Just want to verify it, you know. Let's see. Let's see. Offensive line. Where is the running backs? Am I crazy if I already went past them a couple of times? There we go. Tye Edwards. Okay. So we've got all 4 guys on the roster. So that's a big deal. We needed to see that because even though the NCAA is appealing this, it doesn't seem like West Virginia is ready to say throw in the towel at all. As a matter of fact, just read the tea leaves. Even though they're not publicly going to say, hey, they're going to play this week, they're putting them on the roster, y'all. They would not be going on the roster if they weren't going to be playing, in my opinion. I could be wrong. Maybe they're going on the roster until they can figure out what to do with them as well. But I'm going to guess it's a good sign. We'll find out later. All right, let's jump off of there. and stop sharing the screen there and talk about my next subject here, which is this Rich Rod thing is a freaking movie, y'all. Think about this. Rich Rodriguez is a national story. It's being talked about everywhere around the country, literally everywhere around the country. This story is popping up. Pete Thamel's done a story on it. Pete Nakos has said some things about it. Ross Dellinger has done a story on it, talking about some ketchup and steak that Rich Rod likes to eat. You know what? I got to say one thing. Ketchup and steak is good together for breakfast. If you're eating it with eggs and fried potatoes, I can eat it then. It's got to be thin steak. It can't be a thick steak like you eat for dinner. Two different kinds of steak to me. There's steak and egg steak, and then there's then you got your ribeye, your big thick steaks. Like, I just want to put that out there. Like, would I take a nice ribeye or a wagyu steak, Japanese wagyu steak, and dip it in ketchup? Hell no, I wouldn't. Hell no, I wouldn't. But would I take a, one of the more cheaper steaks that are a little flat? Maybe you can buy them for $7 or $8. You can get a couple at Kroger or something. Yeah, I would absolutely eat those with ketchup and the home fries or fried taters. I don't even know how I got off on this. Oh, don't pay attention to me, guys. I'm one of the, I got weighed today, and the wake up call for me on that. So okay. Obviously I'm fired up, or you're fired up, because football is back, obviously, and there's no bigger story in Morgantown or in the entire sport, maybe, than the return of Rich Rodriguez, even to the point to where Kirk Herbstreit gave Rich Rodriguez the Herbie over somehow, some way, Bill Belichick, of all people, for the best coaching hire of the offseason. He's back on the sidelines. It's been 18 years since Rich Rod left West Virginia in one of the most controversial exits in really college football history, definitely in program history. And now he's back against all odds, ready to approach his first game of his second stint at West Virginia against Bobby Moe, Robert Morris, on August 30th, 2025. So this is insane, y'all. Like, come on. We're diving into the nostalgia pit here. Let's set the stage, though. It's 2007. West Virginia is 10-1. We're ranked number 2 in the nation. We're 1 win away from a shot at the BCS championship. And then Pitt, of all teams, stuns us 13-9 in the backyard brawl. And our hearts have been broken ever since. And our program hasn't been same since that night. It hasn't been the same. We've had a couple moments, the 08 Fiesta, which was that year, and then the 12 Orange was a good year. But outside of that, it has not looked like it once did. Skylar Howard had a year here and there, but Will Greer had this team moving a little direction. But, man, it's not been back to this level again. And so the 33rd coach becomes the 36th coach all over again. And here we go. No, he's the 32nd coach. Sorry. So I've got 15 reasons why Rich Rodriguez's return is the biggest story in football this week as we gear up for his first game back. Number one, the prodigal son returns. Everybody loves this story. The Grant Town native, the coal mining town, walked on as the defensive back at West Virginia in 1981, played under Don Nehlen, graduated from West Virginia. This is not just a coaching gig for him. It's personal. He wants to fix his biggest mistake of his coaching career, maybe one of his life. He's one of us, and I think his return feels like a homecoming for a guy who gets the state's blue-collar kind of vibes, right? And he knows who we are as a people. The golden era of the 2000s, I think, is the number 2 reason. Not only do all of us that are, let's say, probably 32, 33, or let me see, how old was I? Well, no, I would say, probably 30 and older, remember it well. Maybe you can get down to 28 where you be, 10 or so. But I mean, anybody probably 28 to 30 or over remembers that game well. Anybody 35 and over remembers it really well because you were an adult. It's been weird, hasn't it? for this all to happen again. Certainly glad it happened. So I was rooting for it the whole way. I don't think there was anybody I wanted more than Rich Rod the whole way. I'm trying to think if there was anybody. I don't think there was anybody that could have been maybe like an Urban Meyer or something. I think was something I was excited about at one point. But I'm trying to think back on whenever we were looking for the coach, like who was I pushing for? Because in the beginning, it didn't seem like Rich Rod was really an option, did it? Let's go to break really quick. We'll come back. We'll kind of finish this thought here about Rich Rod being the best kept secret in week one. We'll come back and talk a little bit about some football as well. I saw some lists out there. They're forgetting a guy. Somehow everybody keeps forgetting about my guy. And it's pissing me off, man. I'll be right back. And this episode of Locked On West Virginia going to be brought to you by FanDuel. We're talking about FanDuel in this one because they're one of our best sponsors, right? August 26th. It's a pretty cool date. It's officially FanDuel Futures Day, a brand new holiday for football fans who live for bold predictions and preseason hunches. Just for 24 hours, FanDuel is going to give you deals on NFL season predictions. So whether you're calling for your MVP, eyeing a long shot division winner, ready to crown your Super Bowl in week one before it even kicks off, that's your moment if that's what you want to do. If you want to take a flyer on the MVP race, you could do like an Aaron Rodgers, right? Somebody who's way dark horse this year. Or if you want to crown your champion in August, maybe you give to Geno Smith and them Raiders. You can also parlay your division winners, dark horses, whatever you want to do. But be sure to visit FanDuel's app today and start planning your future bets now, because FanDuel Futures Day is one day and one day only. And you can do it at FanDuel today where you can play your game. It's segment 3. All right, y'all, we're back. Appreciate you guys for holding on, hanging on. I don't think they're going to win the appeal either. Curtis D316. By the way, I just want to point you out. Thank you for your unwavering support over the years. You've been around. You've been on me for years, man, and I appreciate it. I know I'm a knucklehead sometimes. Ranger Buck's been here for a while. There's a lot of people in the chat that I just want to thank you. Professional Carpet System Raleigh has been banger here lately. They've been on top of it. And many more of you guys. I don't want to go down the entire list, but I just want to thank all you guys that are here every day. It really means a lot. Even though we don't always get along, I appreciate that y'all come back, because I'm argumentative as hell. It's just the way I am. So I do appreciate you guys. I love you, y'all. I really do. So kind of like how a father loves his son, maybe. I don't know. Let's talk a little Rich Rod story real quick, and we'll go. I got all these reasons. I'm just going to run through them. The golden era of the 2000s, the messy 07 exit because of all the nuance to that. The Pitt game looming large obviously amplifies all this, right? The new college football landscape, he's stepping into a wildly different game than in 07. How's he going to perform? It's fascinating to see. And he hasn't changed at all. He's still old Rich Rod in this new system. The spread option pioneer, I think he's the godfather of the spread option offense. Fast-paced, run heavy, right? Palms are sweaty. There's vomit on my sweater already. Oh, God. Miss Rita Spaghetti. I don't know. Total roster overhaul. Sounds like that sounds like a movie. Total Recall, except Rich Rod. Total roster overhaul. Pat White and Noel Devine are back. Rasheed Marshall is back. That's a big deal. What about the defense? Zach Alley, and all that. I think that's a big piece of this. You've got one of the best D coordinators in the country coming in. What about the Big 12 opportunity here? You got a chance to get in the playoff early and often if you do it right, like Arizona State did last year, or Indiana. Reason number 11, redemption after Michigan and even to some extent Arizona. His Arizona stint didn't finish like we all wanted it to. If you're rooting for Rich Rod, some of you were not. And definitely that Michigan stint was not fair now that we look back on it. The fan base polarization, I think, is a big one because fans are going to be chanting Rich Rod's back. They're going to be chanting his name. Even a heckler was escorted out of his introductory press conference, right? The blue collar / coal miner mentality, Rich Rod talks about it a lot. His roots are in coal mining. He hates softness. He hates loafing, all that. So that all hits with all of us. The first game is going to set the tone. I think we're all just waiting for this first game, right? The Robert Morris game. It's a big opportunity. And then the last but not the least, and actually the most important thing, a chance to rewrite his legacy. A lot of times in this profession, you don't get second chances, especially at the place you really started, for a good reason. It hasn't worked in history, but for a couple times, and it's never been as successful as the first time in any of these. In any case you can look at, even Bill Snyder wasn't as successful as his first run at K-State. So, what makes this different for Rich Rod? Why would he not just be another number on that dial? I'll tell you why. I've said this multiple times. Whenever people tell you, if somebody uses the argument that retread hires have never worked. Hold on, let me do a better accent. Retread hires have never worked before. Rich Rod's going to fail at West Virginia. That's what a Marshall fan said to me the other day. And I love the country accent. I mean, I got one, you got one, most of you do. But when I get a chance to make fun of one, I will as well. And that's what this woman said to me. She had a big Marshall T-shirt on. She had the Kelly Green Marshall hat. She had the Marshall pom-poms. I mean, everything you can think of, they were on her purse. And I had my West Virginia hat. She stopped me in Speedway. She said, "Y'all got Rich Slob back?" And I said, "Yeah." I said, he's going to bring us back, just trying to get it out through the line. I didn't really want to talk. And, she started diving into it. Well, retread hires have never worked before. I said, "Listen, man, you can't even judge retread hires in this era the same. It's not the same thing. You don't build teams the same way. We're paying players millions of dollars now. It's not the same thing. It's apples and oranges, actually. Back when retread hires were judged based, like if you look at a Snyder, for instance, there was, I think, a 10-year gap or whatever it was. We can look it up between his first and second stints. The game had changed quite a bit, but he was an older man, and had trouble recruiting. That's what I understand at K-State that second time around, and just kind of had lost some of that touch. But they ended up still being really good under him. Like, he's the best example that I can find of a retread hire. In the portal era, if you give a guy resources, and look at Rich Rodriguez, he's still fired up on the sideline. He's still like he was 15 years ago, 17 years ago. I truly believe it's just different. So we'll find out. Same thing with Scott Frost. It's not the same as when he was successful at UCF, even back in 17, right? When they probably should have been in the national championship game, or at least given a shot, but they were kind of screwed over. And hell, they even beat that Auburn team, which, say what you want, that was a big win for them. But I'll be rooting for them just because I want this narrative that retreads can't work to go away. Why can't you go home again? All right, y'all. One thing I want to point out here. I saw a list today, the five freshmen that are going to make an impact, and I agreed with most. There's one name on the list that gets no love, and I can't explain to you how aggravated it makes me. And I'm a big fan of this kid, and I'm going to go ahead and do it. I'm going to show you the tape. I have to. I know it's not the best timing, but just forgive me, guys. Okay, let's go to the roster here. Bang. All right, let's see. We're at linebacker. We're looking for linebackers. Bellis. Here he is. Cam Torbor. Bam, we're there already. Okay. So let's go ahead and go to Cam Torbor's name here. Okay, so I think it was Casaza or somebody because like people, you got to think, guys, with this job that I have, people send me all the time. People send me suggestions like, hey, you got to look at this, hey, you look at that. Like I'm talking about, I get sometimes 50, 60 messages a day, sometimes 10 or 12 emails a day. And I've also got all my buddies that work at Locked On that we all talk about content ideas because we can all do the same video and it would different people are going to see it. A lot of times you guys ain't watching the Oklahoma State podcast or you're not watching the Utah podcast, but we all keep track of what's working for each other, so we're all looking for a good show to do. Anyways, Cam Torbor, so somebody sent me the Casaza top 5 freshman impacts, and I agree with Taylor Brown at number 1. I think he's absolutely the number 1, but Cam Torbor wasn't on this list, and I just want you guys to see some of his tape and explain to me how or why that is. Honest to God, because I think Cam Torbor is one of, if not the most gifted freshman that we brought in this year. And I guess just nobody, because here's the thing about Torbor as well. He was the last one that signed, the last one. So he came in with the Bomar and another one, Armoni Weaver. Now, Armoni Weaver is another one that got no love on that list. And I'm just saying, I love Casaza. I think he's probably way more smarter than I am. Actually, I know he is. He's a very smart guy. But I do disagree with him here, and I think Torbor should have been inside the top 5 somewhere. And I'll show you why. So, he's 6'3", 6'4", 200 and whatever he is, 235. And he runs like a gazelle, y'all. I'm a big fan of this kid's game. I really think he's going to have a chance to play this year for West Virginia. Let's watch him. I think this is him right here. He's got incredible speed. He's got incredible hands. I think he could be a bandit at some point. Honestly, I really do. If you can develop his pass rushing skills. But I mean, he just does so many things. The closing speed, watch the speed here. I bet this is 4.6, 4.7 speed right here at least. I mean, he can, like I say all the time, my dad used to say, he can shit it and get it. He can. Here he is right here. Watch him run somebody down. Boom. Really nice job. And he plays at Hoover High School, which is one of the most famous high schools in all of the country because of that documentary, I'm guessing. Now, does he need to get stronger? Does he need to get a lot of different things? Sure. But from an athleticism standpoint, and you see how good of a pass rusher he is, that's the second one of these where he's come through the middle and just absolutely dominated and abused somebody. Yeah, the left guard, number 71, abused. Right here, and he's going right in the – looks like he's going right in the A and B gap. Abused. Here he is playing a little backer. Look at him come off the edge and just absolutely destroy the quarterback and abuse him. I mean, it's total abuse on every play. Here he is again, outrunning, I mean, you know how hard it is to outrun blocks like that? And number 1 is like, I'm not even getting in his way. So over and over, man, this dude, he's got a gear to him that I just think a lot. I mean, look at that. That's an incredible move. Just an absolute gorgeous little pass rushing move. I mean, you got to love that move right there. Let's see if we can get it and to go and over. Okay, so right there. See that move he's putting on, old boy? That's a great move, right? Number 66, abused. So I mean, he does a great job, but and here they go. They're coming at 66 again, and I'm just going to blame 66 who got abused again here. Here he is right on the edge, and as you can see, bull rushes past the guy and basically gets close to a sack. I mean, he's just so strong. I really do think that at some point in time, this dude's going to turn into an elite player for us. I love this dude's tape. Very vastly under recruited. Like, you just don't see linebackers in high school that can run this well, that at least aren't getting some publicity. And maybe he didn't have a great camp. I don't have inside sources on his camp, but I mean, as far as his high school tape goes, it's not just good, it's damn good. Here he is again. Once again, there he goes, abusing another person. He loves that little inside swim move, and I can't say that it's not been working great for him. I mean, look at the speed, man. You know, this dude can flat out fly. You would think he was a DB or something. Watch him run. I mean, he can move, son. And he's 6'4", 230. I'm telling you, you know, you could convince me to put him at nickel or somewhere if he lost a little bit of weight. You know, if you want to say he's going to get down to 210 or something like that and put him at nickel, I probably would say, yeah, he could do it. He's got the speed to do it. But, you know, obviously I like him at linebacker because, I mean, you just can't teach that kind of speed like in hustle right there. Look at that hustle. Look at the speed to catch up to the running back. Great job. Great job. Well, backer again. He just follows it and absolutely abuses the running back trying to block him. I mean, there was no chance, right? Just get off me. Here I come. So, obviously, Torbor, man, this is my guy. I feel like he deserved to be mentioned. There he is taking on a block, setting the edge, and making a play. Now, you know, I would not suggest to take the block on how he just uses his shoulder. That's definitely not how it's taught to set the edge. Watch him just basically use himself as a battering ram here. Boom. I mean, I love the hit, love the mentality, not saying anything about that. But overall, I'm just saying use your hands, you know. All right, y'all. I appreciate y'all for being here. Thanks for making Locked On West Virginia your first listen and for being a part of the Locked On Podcast Network. We talk about your team, the Mountaineers, every single day. If you can do me a big favor, I would really appreciate you check out Locked On Portal next. My buddy over there, Brian Smith, does an excellent job at Locked On Portal. He covers the portal, he covers recruiting, and he covers both extremely well. Be sure to check him out. And like, subscribe, share the whole thing with this video as well. I would really appreciate it if you could like and subscribe before you leave. And if you get chance or time, just go down and click share or copy and paste the link from up in your bar and just paste it on social media somewhere for me. I would really appreciate that. I'll do a giveaway this week. I get paid tomorrow, so I'll do a giveaway this week. How about this? For those of you left that are listening, which ain't a lot, if you copy and paste the bar and share it to any social media, whether that's Facebook or X or Instagram or anywhere else, I'll do a $50 giveaway. Whoever, you know, and we'll just look and see who does it. If you know, and you know, there's got to be at least 5 people to do it, or it can't be a giveaway. But all you got to do is copy and paste the link and share it over on social media. And if you do that, it'll help this video blow up some, and I would greatly appreciate it. Then just take a screenshot and send me the proof over on X at Paul Mountaineer or to my email, which is ROCKELPAUL 0 at gmail.com. And you can just play this back over again if you need to know what it is. It's also in the chat. That's ROCKELPAUL 0 at gmail.com or at Paul Mountaineer over on X or Twitter, if you want to call it that. And, you know, show me a screenshot. Show me you shared your video out somewhere of this video. And I'll absolutely put you in a drawing for $50. And we'll just do that here in a couple of days. Thank you, guys. I love you all, and I'll see you later. I'm going to do another video here in a bit, and we'll talk about this again. Later.